Hey guys, Alicia Wright with eXp Realty.
Gene Agustin with the Lending Collective.
And we're here to bring you some field notes.
Yes.
We have some myths and tips.
Yeah.
About what?
Renting versus buying.
Yes.
And we're going to go over your opportunity costs if you decide you want to rent for the next 5 years versus buying. I think that's a big question. A lot of people don't consider when they get comfortable with just paying rent.
Yes.
Right?
And I think there's some misinformation out there about if you just basically compare your rent payment to a mortgage payment. And I think a lot of people are scared.
Yeah.
They see the difference and they're like, oh, shoot, I can't afford this. We have some questions that real people have asked us in our decades of experience. And I think it might resound with some of you. I think you might find that some of these questions are also some of your fears.
Yeah.
So
go for it. What are some questions?
Well, okay, first off, we're going to break down. First of all, we're going to break down all this.
Yeah.
We have something fun for you.
Yes.
Gene's walking through an actual analysis that he uses with people. So we will get to that. But a lot of people ask, what if I missed my chance? What if I waited too long?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's a great one.
I hear that all the time. I think I missed my chance.
Yeah.
And there isn't, an expiration date on chances, right? What do you think?
It's not like spoiled milk, you know? Yeah, I think,
How do you answer that?
When the time is right, the time is right. Right. It's you're only going to miss your chances if you never take a shot. Is what I tell my clients.
Right.
So, when I meet with a new client, unlike most lenders where they want you to submit everything, I insist on doing a full consultation where we go through what their numbers are.
Right.
I think once we've identified, based on your goals for budget, where you like to be monthly payment, and we've identified that ideal purchase price.
Right.
The goal of the consultation is to get you familiar with what all the numbers are, like the costs, right? All the different loan programs, what the process is like.
Right.
And then get you comfortable with the numbers. And then from there, you can decide, I'm actually buying more than I need, or, I may be able to bump this up a little bit more. Again, it's about identifying what you're comfortable with.
Right.
There's no right or wrong time. It's just when you're ready, you're ready.
I've heard speaking about being comfortable, I've heard a lot of buyers say to me, hey, I'm looking around out there and everything I can afford isn't even close to as nice as what I'm renting right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big one. It's one that keeps people in their seats.
Yep.
And it's like paralysis by analysis, right? You're like overthinking it a little bit. But anytime you make a move forward, there is risk involved. There's cost involved. And it's going to cost you something, right? Anytime you consider, like, you're going to put money in your 401k, for example, you're maybe going to sacrifice your daily coffee. You're going to save the $6 or $7 every day and put it towards retirement. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that that's pretty much a good thing if you can do it, right?
Yeah.
So Gene's going to break down in this fun exercise, like exactly what it would cost you to keep renting. And we did a little exercise. Everything we're basing our numbers on for rent is $3,000 a month.
Yep.
And I know a lot of you are paying more than that, and maybe there's a few of you paying less than that. But we're basing the numbers in a very safe zone of about $3,000 a month.
It's an average for what people are paying. In Placer County, Sac County, is about $3,000 plus or minus.
Yeah.
But this is a listing that Alicia has that I'm surprised hasn't been picked up yet, because it's a great property. And I wanted to show you guys the benefit, or real numbers. Like, if you continue to rent over 5 years, what does that look like?
How much is that, Gene?
So over a 5-year period, you're going to pay out roughly $191,000.
$191,000.
Yeah, and people don't realize
5 years
that.
on rent.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you gonna? How are you gonna show how you break it down?
Watch the video. You'll see it, and then we'll come back and we'll kind of talk more in depth about it and answer more of these questions.
So take a few minutes to watch this. It's right here, and we'll be right back.
Yep. Hey guys, here's a quick example of a listing that Alicia has on what we covered during our initial consultation. This is a rent versus own analysis. So let's jump right into it. So in the summary section, you're going to see 5 columns. So column number 1 This is assuming that you're renting a property for $3,000. Now, remember, as a renter, you have no tax benefit. There's no principal paid, so you're not building any equity. So your net expense each month is $3,000. Now, let's say that you guys, bought this property. This is 1675 Vernon Street in Roseville, listed for $389,000. So let's say for all four options, you paid the list price of $389,000. Option one, this is a 30-year fixed conventional, putting 5% down. So we're doing a loan for $369,550. 30-year fixed rate today is around 6.444%. Your monthly payment, now this is including taxes and insurance and a small PMI, is going to come in at $3,165. Now, as a homeowner, remember, one of the things that you're going to have is you're going to start realizing a tax benefit. So assuming you're at about a 22% tax benefit or tax bracket, your tax savings on a monthly base comes in at roughly $567 that you're not realizing right now as a renter. And then of the $3,165, roughly $337 is going towards your principal reduction each month. I like to look at this as a forced savings, because the more you pay down your mortgage or your principal balance, the more equity you're building. In fact, over the next 5 years, that $337 is going to total over $23,000 in principal reduction, meaning if you sell your house, you are going to get that money back on top of any market appreciation. So when you factor in your tax savings and then your principal paid or your forced savings, your net monthly expense comes in at $2,260, which is significantly cheaper than what you're currently paying in rent at $3,000. Your estimated cash to close is going to be a little over $32,000. Now, the other thing to consider about that $3,000, remember, as a renter, you're not building any equity. So that $3,000, when you factor in over a 5-year period, is going to total over $191,000 that you would have paid to your landlord. So basically, your landlord is using your money to pay down their mortgage, building equity or generational wealth for their family. So hopefully with this analysis, this will give you a better idea of why you need to buy sooner than later and start building equity for yourself. So option number 2, this is a 30-year fixed, 10% down, doing a loan for $350,100, same interest rate, 6.444%, monthly payment $3,028. Estimated cash at close a little over $5,163. And again, you'll see here where you'll see your tax benefit, your principal paid, and then your net expense. So significantly cheaper than what you're paying in rent. And then column number 3 or 4, this is a conventional 20% down. So doing a loan for $311,200, same interest rate, monthly payment's going to be even lower than what you're paying in rent, which is $2,740. There's your tax benefit, principal paid. So your net expense is $1,978. So almost a little over $1,000 lower than what you're currently paying in rent. Estimated cash at close a little over $90,000. Now, the 4th or the 5th column, this is ideal for a first-time home buyer who maybe have limited funds for cash to close or down payment. This is an FHA loan, which requires a minimum down of 3.5%. So we're doing a loan for $381,954. The interest rate you'll see is better than conventional at 5.755%. Monthly payment is going to be $3,187. There's your tax benefit, principal paid, so still cheaper than what you're paying in rent, and estimated cash to close a little over $28,000. Now, again, this is just a high-level overview of what we cover in an initial consultation. If you guys would like a custom analysis for yourself, just reach out or DM us. I'd love to connect with you guys. Now, something that most home buyers, especially first-time home buyers, that they don't consider why they should buy sooner than later is opportunity cost. And this is something that we cover in detail during the cost analysis. So looking at this analysis over a 5-year period. So this box right here, again, rent $3,000, it's $191,000 you would have paid to your landlord. Principal reduction. Let's say we go with option. Let's say we went with the FHA loan, right? So you would have seen a principal reduction of $27,622. Now, what is our opportunity cost? So, here's what you would have paid out. Let me move my head. Here's what you would have paid out in rent over a 5-year period. No tax benefit, no principal paid. So this is your net expense. If you went with the FHA loan, you would have paid about roughly the same, $191,247. However, you would have paid your principal balance down by $27,622. So that's your money. You would have received a tax savings of over $26,000 from Uncle Sam. So your net expense is coming in at $137,000, which is cheaper than what you would have paid in rent. Now, here's why we buy, right? So assuming a 5% rate of appreciation year over year, which is very conservative for California,
A 389 home today in 5 years is going to be worth roughly 496, 474. Remember, we paid the mortgage down, the loan balance down to 354. So your opportunity cost, if you continue to rent for the next 5 years, is roughly $142,000 in net equity. So anyhow, guys, I hope you found this breakdown helpful. Alicia and I would love to be a resource for you. If you have any questions, please reach out. My number is 408-828-0575. Take care.
All right, so in the video, you guys see over a 5-year period, right? If you're paying $3,000 a month in rent, and this is something that most renters don't take into consideration. 5-year period, you're going to pay $191,000 in rent. 15-year period, I just closed with a first-time home buyer who's been renting for over 17 years.
Wow.
When I showed her this number, like you could just see, like she just was like, "Oh my God!"
How much was it?
I mean, so for this analysis, if you're paying $3,000 a month in rent over a 15-year period, that's over $669,000 in rent payment. Imagine had you bought a home and had that being applied towards your principal, how much equity you're building. So I
think that gets back to our question, is it too late for me? And the answer is no.
No.
And here's why, right?
Yeah. It's there's your time and my time in terms of is now the right time to buy so subjective. It's just once you're comfortable with the numbers, you've got to act on it, and when you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah.
But you got to keep in mind what your opportunity cost is. So, like for this example, for Vernon, you're going to pay out, $191,000, and what's the opportunity cost? So I think we were using an example of like a 5% year-over-year rate of appreciation.
Yeah.
The opportunity cost for this example was roughly, I think for one of the loan options, was about $205,000 in net equity over a 5-year period.
Yeah.
So if you're in a position right now where you're renting and you're like, well, I'm just going to save more.
Right.
I'm going to wait 5 years.
Yeah.
That house isn't going to stay this house isn't going to stay at $400,000. It's going to continue to appreciate.
Yes.
In 5 years, had you bought, your opportunity cost is over $200,000. So that's something that a lot of buyers, especially first-time home buyers, don't take into consideration.
You just look straight at the rent payment versus the mortgage payment, and that the delta between those two can seem like a lot, but it's really not when you factor in what Gene explained. The tax benefit, and you're paying down your mortgage over time. And I think when we talk about whether or not you can find something as nice as what you're renting, how often, Gene, do you think people what's the time period that you see people buy again? They sell and buy, they move up, I guess.
Yeah. So in a normal market, a first-time home buyer usually is in their house for 5 years. And what I like to remind my first-time home buyers is that you're not buying your dream home.
Right.
You are buying an asset that gets you in a position to start building equity.
Yeah.
Most people can't save $205,000 over a 5-year period. So imagine you buy this house, 5 years, you have $200,000 in equity.
Yep.
Now you're selling that property, taking that equity and rolling it in to the next property. So it's very rare. I mean, it took me like 5 or 6 homes before I was in my dream house. So it's not it's not common that people are buying their dream home out the gate.
No, I mean, I don't see anyone doing that.
No.
I don't see anyone doing that. I think most people probably stay in their homes, the first home, maybe 3 to 5 years. So if you think it's maybe not as nice as what you're renting, can you look at it and ask yourself, can you live there for 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
Where you're not marrying it forever. You're just getting your foot in the door to save up, to build some equity, and then you can move up. And that's what we, help our clients do, set you up to be able to move up into the thing that you really, really want, right?
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
and maybe it will take 2, 3, maybe 5 homes before you get there. But it's all part of the process, and it's all just a super fun way of saving money because you get to own your own home.
And we covered this more in detail during our cost analysis. So another myth that I get a lot is we need 20% down to buy. And you guys can see in that video that you watched, I went over 4 different loan options, right? Conventional 5% down, 10% down, 20% down, and then we went FHA 3.5% down. So don't feel like you need to put the full 20% to buy. You got to look at, like, if I buy something at 3.5%, can I get something that I'm comfortable with? And in 5 years, am I going to have enough equity to sell it to buy my next property?
Right.
Right. It's about trying to put all the pieces together and just, again, realize that we're not buying our dream home. We're buying our starter home to get us in the game of building equity,
Right.
and then rolling that equity into the next property. So it's
Right,
just
right.
about knowing your numbers and kind
We
of
say that all
working
the
our way,
time.
yeah,
Yep,
working
we're-
our
we're-
way backwards and
Yeah.
figuring out what's comfortable for you. So
Right.
20%, while it sounds great,
Yeah.
it's not
It's
realistic.
not realistic because it takes
Yeah.
people. I think it takes a lot of people, most people, years to save 20% down.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you unless you have a very high paying job, and you don't have a lot of college debt or whatever you're trying to pay off, most people, it takes years to save 20% down. And those are every year that passes
Yeah.
is a year that you are paying someone else's mortgage.
Yeah.
You're supporting someone else's long-term plan and not your own long-term plan.
So I had a client in the Bay Area. This was maybe 2012, 13, maybe 14. And they wanted to, this is when the homes like South Bay was still selling, under 7.
Okay. Yes.
And they wanted to put 20% down. And we did our consultation, and they were like, yeah, we want to wait to buy because we want to save 20%. And I said, the Bay Area is tough because the rate of appreciation for housing usually exceeds how much we can save money.
Yes.
And so we did our consultation, and they liked the options we went over, and they bought a house. We went FHA. 6 months later, the market just skyrocketed, and where the house is today, I mean, it's worth a little, probably just around $1.5 million, $1.6 million.
Yeah.
She was like, I would have never been able to save the 20%
There's no way.
to buy the house that we own today.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
get into the property. That's more important than saving 20%, assuming you're comfortable with the monthly
Right.
payment.
And I mean, I think that sometimes it is like a little bit of a pride thing. I've felt that way, especially having started over after getting a divorce.
Yeah.
You have life circumstances that you can't always predict. And sometimes you are starting over when all your friends are in their dream home. And if that's you, it is okay to just start over.
It's your journey.
I think my generation, and I feel like even the younger generation more so, is so failure adverse. Like, we're so afraid of making a mistake that we don't make a jump. We don't take the chance to build something for ourselves.
Yeah.
Say you get out there. I mean, we help you decide whether you can afford it. So it's not like we're promoting buy something you can't afford. That's never anything we support or promote ever. But like, if you can afford it, and it's just you're starting over, it's not exactly what you want. It's still, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You really got to start somewhere, and you got to invest in your own future. And even if that means you're trying to do it for the second time at 40. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's where we're at.
So one of the questions we get is like, should we buy at the maximum we qualify for?
Right.
And I love this question. So when we do our consultation, the first question I ask my clients is, where do you want to be monthly payment wise? Like, what's the maximum that you're comfortable paying, right? I don't want you to be house poor.
Right.
So it's good to identify that number, and what does that translate to in terms of purchase price based on your budget for your down payment or funds to close. And then from there, I'm going to show them the maximum that they qualify for. So they have this nice range of numbers. I generally don't want, just because a bank says, hey, you can buy $1 million house, doesn't mean that you should.
Right.
So, which is unusual because most lenders or most people in our industry want to push the highest.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I want to make sure that we're putting you in a position where you're not going to lose your house.
Yes.
And you're building equity. This is generational for me. Like, I want to help my clients build generational wealth, and real estate is a great tool to do that.
We have someone we talked to, a young kid we talked to yesterday. One of my clients is like, hey, my kid is getting started. Like, this is generational business. That we're working now with the second generation of buyers. And we're pretty excited to have her, and we want to help her get into a property too. And it's cool to see that taking place for the people in our sphere.
Yeah. So another myth I get is you need to have perfect credit to buy.
Yeah.
And maybe, a few years ago that was true, but not today. I mean, if you're above, 620, there are some really good loan programs out there. And again, I tell people, don't worry about what you can't control. Right? Know what you're comfortable paying and then work the numbers backwards.
Here's another one to piggyback on that one.
Yeah.
I need to pay off all my debt before I can
geez.
buy a house.
Yeah.
So I'm another person that we've been working with this week, has some debts, and they're selling their house. And instead of paying off everything, Gene has analyzed what things she actually needs to pay off. Some people think they need to pay off everything, and that's just not true.
Yeah.
Right? What do you see there?
So what we do during our consultation is we don't run credit. We do that after the client decides we're ready, and we have some type of game plan.
The consultation is a conversation.
It really is, yeah.
Gene, I've sat with him on that. I've heard his presentation, his consultation. It sounds so formal, but it's really just a conversation.
It's a conversation, getting you familiar with the entire process. What are all the costs associated? I try to eliminate, when you're spending real money, it gets very emotional.
Yeah.
Especially when you don't know what you're spending your money on.
Right.
And so I try to eliminate all of the confusion and what is this, what is that, day one, so that when a client identifies that we're ready to go, we hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Because they're familiar with everything already, right?
Yeah.
So in this instance here, she had an idea of the debts outstanding and payments, and they were selling property, so we knew how much cash was coming in.
Yeah.
And the original her game plan was, I'm just going to pay everything off. And we looked at the numbers, and we kind of, it's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
We put all the pieces together.
Yeah.
And we found a solution where it just made more sense. So we didn't pay everything off. We paid a good chunk off, and then we used some of that money to put towards slightly bigger down payment. And then we left some of that money as a cushion.
Yeah.
So we have some, emergency funds.
Yeah.
And again, that's why I like the consultation, because without it, like you don't know. You're just kind of shooting in the dark.
I mean, if your realtor, if your lender is pushing you or suggesting in any way that you should, throw all your money at the purchase, that's just not good advice. It's not sound advice, because you really do need a cushion. No one is advocating here that you should throw all your money in one pot. Nobody wants you to be house poor,
Yes.
So that, I think, is so important to have some kind of cushion. And you need, most people, we do this full time. Most buyers that we encounter are not doing this full time. And even if you've bought before, you've only done it once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, but it's not a full-time effort to understand what is actually going on and what you need to do. So you do need someone who can guide you through these steps, through this process, so you can be comfortable. And there's a safety net. There's some safety involved with proceeding in this type of way and with this kind of care.
I'm always shocked when someone just says, I want to buy, here's all my paperwork, and then they go and look for a house, and then they get in a contract, and now you're spending money, and then now all these questions come up. It's like, why wouldn't you address all your questions and concerns first?
Yeah. Well, and I think the reality of that is some people just don't know what to ask.
Yeah.
So what we like to do, and hopefully your realtor and your lender, if you're already in contract, is doing this too. We want to not overwhelm you up front, but we need to be able to, we like to be able to explain what you can expect. That way you're making an educated decision, and we educate you so that you can advocate for yourself in this process. It's a big thing.
We don't know what we don't know until someone's willing to give you some sound information or data, so that you can, and really that's our strong suit.
Yeah.
Is I'm going to give you as much information as possible. I tell people, I'm horrible at sales. I'm just going to educate you and guide you. My superpower is I teach at a 5th grade level.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you some data, and you're going to use that data to decide which direction you want to go. Right.
Yes.
Now we have some fun stuff, because I think you have a few examples.
Yes, we do.
Of our homes on our hot list.
Yep.
Right.
We publish the 10 hottest houses every week in Placer County, but we can do it in any county that we serve. We picked three houses that we think will, we can give you the analysis like Gene did on the first example. We can give you the analysis on any of these three. The first one is in Roseville. It's $543,000, and we'll show you a picture here. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it has a pool and RV access. It's $543,000.
Yeah. So let's say you were renting $3,000.
Yeah.
One example of a loan option, if you're doing conventional 5% down, your monthly payment with everything, taxes, insurance, it's going to be around $4,200. So you're going to think, wow, that's a huge jump.
The delta's huge.
Yeah, but if you factor in your tax benefit, right? Yep. So assuming you're like at a 22% tax bracket of the $4,200, you're going to realize a tax savings of roughly $791 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So conceivably, and again, I'm not a CPA, so talk to your accountant, talk to HR.
Yeah.
Conceivably, you can increase your deductions, and I've had clients do this, so that you're not grossing more, but you're going to net more.
Right.
So you can net
in your paycheck.
So you're going to net an extra $791 per month, not per paycheck. You're going to get in trouble if you do per paycheck. So per month to help subsidize that bump in payment. So again, $4,200 is the mortgage payment with everything. You'll realize a tax savings of $791.
So when we are not CPAs, but like you can talk to your CPA about this. When you do your taxes, what are the things, like Gene explained in the video, what are the things again that you get to write off? It's interest,
your property tax.
Yep. So those write-offs are actually huge.
Yeah.
And you get to do it every year.
Yeah. So that's the reason why we buy, right? Yeah. So you'll see $791 savings, tax benefit. $471 is going towards your mortgage or paying down your principal balance, right?
Yep.
I call that like a forced savings. So in reality, your net expense, when you factor in your tax benefit and principal paid, the net expense is $3,005. So it's $5 more than what you're paying in rent.
Yeah.
Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the next property, here's a photo. It's in Lincoln. It is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,370 square feet, built in 2006. Super cute. It has no Melrose. The price on this one is $599.
So again, 5% down conventional, you'll be at $4,669 all in with taxes, insurance, PMI. When you factor your tax benefit, principal paid, you're at $3,278. So a couple $100 more than what you're paying if you're renting.
Yeah, that $3,000. And hey, by the way, these are not my listings. I'm not promoting my listings. I'm just giving you some examples of hot properties out there. Some properties we mentioned might be a listing of mine. Many are not. Yeah. Okay.
If
many
you guys
on the hot list are not my listings.
Yeah.
And it's okay. Like we are trying to help you find the right property.
The purpose of the hot list is we look at properties all week.
Yeah.
If I was a buyer in today's market, these are the homes I would be interested in.
Yeah, the value on the reason I picked these, the value is there.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to be gone in a week or two. You know, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But we do this every week. We're out in the field every day, all day, looking at properties, talking to buyers and sellers. So the next one is a little higher price point. This one is actually one of the lowest dollars per square foot in the listings that have posted in the last couple of weeks. Okay, in the last say 10 days. This one is $233 per square foot. Ooh. Okay, so this house is a biggie. It's 3,302 square feet, 5-bedroom, 4-bath, built in 2011. It's in Roseville. Okay, so if you're trying to get into Roseville, this is a great one. No HOA. And this one's priced at $770. Okay. So you can see the picture here.
Again, 5% down conventional. Your mortgage payment all in is $5,894. You'll realize a tax benefit of about $1,100 a month. $668 is what's going towards your principal balance each month. And so your net expense is around $4,100. So it's going to cost you roughly $1,100 more. But you're buying a bigger house.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bigger house. You can definitely grow a family there. This one here has 2 primary suites, so perfect for multi-generational living. One is one of the primary suites is downstairs. So if you have parents, you have a grown college student, you want to rent out that one to someone you know.
Yeah.
That's
That's a great
A
property.
great one. It's a great property.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to see any of these, or if you want to, if you want more information, if you want the analysis that Gene did on the Vernon property, comment below.
Was
Was
it
it-
Vernon?
No, no, not for that one. We wanted to say comment below. Help me.
Help me.
Help
Oh, yeah.
me. Help me. So we can send you the QR code or the link to the video
Yep.
where we break down the analysis. And if you have some property that you've been eyeing and you want the analysis on that property, we can do it on that property. It again doesn't have to be my listing or anything.
Or if you just want to know what your numbers are, right? No obligation.
Yep.
I'm not going to ask you to submit an application. I don't
Yep.
want to look at your paperwork. We don't
Yep.
want to run credit.
Yep.
If you just want to have an honest conversation and just want some guidance,
Yep.
right? I always tell people, my perfect client is someone who doesn't think they're ready.
Yeah.
I love talking to those clients because all I'm going to do is give you some guidance, prepare a game plan to get you ready sooner than later.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
People who ask, how do I get there from here?
Yeah. So
Like, how
comment,
do do
I
it?
need help,
I need help.
and we'll reach out.
Yep, or help me, and we will reach out, and we'll get you what you need. All right, we'll help you get there.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
it. All right, guys, I hope you had a great time with us. We
Yep.
will see you next week.
Yep, bye.
Bye.